Be honorable. We are starting now. Thank you.
Chair, thank you very much for your indulgence and allowing us the opportunity to engage outside. We've got the information that is required, and the executives for legal will present it, and at a determination in the meeting that the chair will so make, and then we can conclude on the presentation and field your questions. Chair, and I want to prefer an apology for us having to request for that opportunity to engage, and I appreciate that the committee has granted such. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me do this because I am supposing that your presentation is kind of set. It might take time to further edit it, go through it, and then at the end, just present the information, and then we'll go to questions. So move on to the next issue, and then we'll return to this at the end.
Acting CEO, you were on the platform and you were trying to get the CEO to present on something on the irregular expenditure?
Yes, Chair. I wanted the CFO to take us through the irregular expenditure slide. Bernice? Oh, things is still in the law. But I can in the meantime continue with it. I think it's as you can see, is in relation to, this is what has been confirmed for the 23-24 financial year. There were 3 instances of irregular expenditure that have been confirmed. The first one is it relates to non-compliance with the National Treasury Instruction Note 3, that is in relation to the appointment of a supplier that did not submit an SBD form. That's a procurement issue. The employee responsible was warned with a formal written warning. The second one relates to the compliance verification in terms of tax compliance, where the award was made prior to the verification being done from a tax compliance perspective. And this is also a procurement issue that the responsible official was also received a written warning. And the last instance relates to the travel management framework, where the employee traveled without proper authorization, and in this particular instance, the full amount incurred was recovered from the responsible official. Those are the only 3 instances of irregular expenditure that were reported and confirmed for the 23-24 financial year. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, no, proceed to the next issue.
Okay. Now, in terms of the final one on vetting of senior officials, I think this has also been an ongoing one. I think the addition that we agreed that I think maybe we need to do on this one, because all the forms have been submitted to state security. I think the additional information we'll need to do is to provide the specific dates, because obviously from here on it's beyond our control from a RAF perspective, because then it's a state security responsibility. But I think for purposes of the committee understanding the length of time, we'll be able to then subsequently provide those specific dates that they were submitted. But as we indicate there, all the Z2O forms have been submitted to SSA for those listed above.
Thank you very much. May I ask a question for clarification? There is something that does not match here. On the 16th of October, we were in this room, and I asked a question. The chair and I had a bit of an exchange about the vetting of officials. But one official was said to already have been vetted, and that was Mr. Collins Letsoalo. Is his name there erroneously?
No, Paul, you want to clarify that?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, members, Honorable Deputy Minister. The name of the CEO is not there erroneously because the CEO has previously submitted his vetting forms, and currently I have an email that we were trying to confirm before this meeting how far the vetting process is with the SSA. And so previously he was vetted, but Chair, if you would know, SSA does vetting for certain individuals on a periodic basis. So I think he was now doing the second, his second vetting. If I may, Chair, just indicate from the email I got the day before yesterday. Just give me a second. Sorry, just a second. I've got it received from, I think, the SSA themselves. Chair, while I look for it, maybe let me just move on to the dates as we were requested to also indicate.
Please don't move on to the dates yet.
Okay, let me look for the email.
Yeah, so a follow-up question is, would it be your contention that his previous security clearance, or clearance, let me say clearance, not security, let me say his previous clearance would have expired between the 16th of October and March? Because when we concluded last time, I actually said I didn't have time to ask my own questions. And this was one of, you had a slide like this last time. And his name was on that slide. And I wanted to ask this question in March already, because I had had a very specific exchange with him in this meeting where he said he has been vetted. Because if he said so then, and this is the state of affairs now, it means for the second time he lied to the committee. And I'm saying for the second time because I asked him about the treasurer in the organization in the same meeting. He lied about that. So I need to know, I really need to know. And the question is, did his clearance expire in between October and March? That's the question.
Chair, I think for purposes of this submission, I think we were only reflecting the submission for vetting as it relates to the RAF, because I think the vetting prior might be the time when he was still in the Department of Transport. I'm saying for purposes of vetting of senior officials, I think that's the context. I personally, for example, would have been vetted before I had the top security clearance in the past, but by the time I joined the RAF, it had since expired. So I had to now submit a new form. But to the extent that you are referring to a confirmation that you would have made in the previous meeting, I think it's only fair that that gets confirmed. And I think it's not an issue that can be easy for us to respond, except for confirming the one that relates to the submission to the RAF. I think the rest we can be able to go back and verify if by the time that he had joined the RAF, there was any expiry of any previous vetting certificate.
Honorable Atkinson had his hand up first, so I'll give him a chance and then I'll come to you, Honorable Beck.
Chair, it's been 7 years. He was acting CEO for 2 years and he's been in that position for 5 years. Has he actually ever been positively vetted in that time? And now, the reason for the problem with that is the fact that he's actually not been legally appointed to that position, which then raises a question as how then would he have locus standi to take RAF, to take the actions against the Auditor General in court that he's been doing? Has he been doing that based on the fact that he's actually not a properly appointed person? So in fact, a misrepresentation to the courts. Because without the vetting, and I understand the courts might give him 6 months or a year to get his security clearance, but not 7 years. So if he's been operating for 7 years without his security clearance, it raises a massive legal issue. It also raises an issue about a whole variety of things here, about the accounting principles, about the fact of not paying out medical aids and foreigners, about a whole variety of board minutes, which he bought, which are actually illegal. Because, to my understanding, if he hasn't been vetted and had a positive vetting in 7 years, he hasn't ever been legally appointed, and he actually raises the entire question over his whole legal mission against the Auditor General, because he doesn't have the locus standi on behalf of RAF. Thank you.
All right, so I don't know the legal part, so I must be honest with you. So I'd need to be advised. Honourable Beck, but I take your point. Honourable Beck.
Chair, can we have a show of hands from the board and the execs present here, who in fact is in possession, as it stands today, of a vetted status? Can you just put your hands up, please? Am I to understand that not a single member here has been vetted on the board or the executive level? Is that correct? The chairperson can answer for all of them. Is that correct?
Can we clarify that, Chair? The least we can do, the best we do when it comes to vetting, Honourable.
Sorry, this wasn't my question. My question was, are you in possession of a vetted status at the moment? Not, have you submitted it? Are you waiting for the SSA? I've got a simple question. Is anybody here vetted?
Yeah, the ones that have submitted that are on that list there, they have not yet received.
So nobody here is vetted, is that correct?
Yeah,
I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. You still have that for a moment. If you perpetuate this cycle of not answering this committee's questions, you'll be subjected to the same limelight as your predecessor. So be very careful in what you say next. Does anybody here have a vetted status?
I think I've answered.
No, you've not. Yeah. Yes or no?
No.
Thank you.
A positive vetting status, no. And can I clarify the other issue, Chair, around the appointments? That because the vetting process is generally, it takes a long time from the state security. All the appointments are subject to receiving a positive vetting outcome. I think that's normally what is put into the contract, because I think it's a process that is beyond our control, and all of us sign contracts subject to that. And I think that should not necessarily be. I just wanted to address the issue that the appointment would have been illegal. Thanks, Chair.
All right, thanks. So I'll come to you, Honourable Deputy Minister. So here's my difficulty. I am looking at my notes here. The answer we received, I believe October last year, I might be mistaken. Ms. Matut, was it October or March? October last year. Was that the vetting is being finalized? In fact, the people have even been interviewed. That's what we were told then. So is it your assertion that it was being finalized, I don't know how many months ago it was, right? That at this point, nearly, it's going to be a year in October again. Interviews done, so you've not had to actively do anything between October last year and now, because it was already being finalized in October. Because, and please be certain of your answer, because I am going to send a letter to the responsible minister and ask for the correct information, and secondly, ask that minister to account for why it takes so long. We were told it's being finalized.
Yeah, I can't be certain of a date. I think on the certainty of the date, I think that will need to confirm. But certainly, the that what I can confirm is that the Z2O forms have been submitted. Some on that list have been interviewed, including myself, and I know the CFO as well. So I think it will be different from one person to another, but certainly, like I've indicated, I think what we need to be able to do to affirm this is to give you the specific dates of submission to SSA, so that there's alignment.
Let me ask you, since you are interviewed, when were you interviewed?
Interviewed, I think, was late last year. I don't remember the specific. I think late last year.
Let me assist you. It would have been before the 16th of October then, because you guys were here on the 16th of October.
If I may assist with the dates there, the State Security Agency conducted interviews on various dates for the following executives. On the 8th of May 2024, they interviewed Mr. Collins Letsoalo. They interviewed Chief Financial Officer on the 24th of April, Chief Strategy and Transformation Officer Pathuli Kwareni, Daniel Pora on the 20th of May, and also Ms. Mampi Khumalo. As at the 20, so we do follow up with the SSA on a regular basis. As at the 23rd of May, which is last week Friday, we requested a report from the SSA in respect to follow up on the vetting status of RAF executives. And the report we got was that all the executives' work, vetting status, is field work. Field work meaning that they are still conducting interviews, they are still assessing the information that is in front of them. As Patu has confirmed, I think all of us have been interviewed. Some of us have gone for polygraphy tests. Some of us may not have been interviewed because of other reasons, but most of us have been interviewed. Our references that we put on the forms have also been interviewed. So the status that we got from the SSA on Friday is that it's at field work on it. In terms of the CEO, Honorable Chairperson, the previous status that was presented, I think Patu's name was also there, indicating that they were vetted at that point. And then Patu's vetting expired, that's why he needed to provide a new one. The CEO's vetting, as it stands with the SSA, we are following up with them because the email we have received from them is that there is no new record. He was previously vetted. However, now there is no new record. So they have not indicated the status of the CEO's vetting at the current moment as at Friday, as I'm indicating for all other executives. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for that information. However, it still doesn't satisfy and let me say this. I will not hold either the Ministry of Transport or the RAF responsible for the tardiness of the SSA. We will take that up with them through the responsible minister, so do not be anxious about that. What we need to work out is whether the committee was misled. When the chief executive said to this committee that he had been vetted, I have the video. I have now learned with the Road Accident Fund to go and rewatch the entire proceedings ahead of coming here, because things that were said in the previous meeting change in the next meeting. That's why I can play you the video. It's here. He said he had been vetted. Is it your answer then, ma'am, that you don't actually know when his status would have expired? However, that being the case, if he was interviewed in May last year, it means when he claimed to the committee on the 16th of October that he had been vetted, he was lying. It has to mean that. It can't be both. Honorable DM.
Thank you very much, Chair. May I request that that question be put to the substantive CEO? However, at the same time, it would be incumbent on RAF to provide the committee with the full schedule and timelines of each executive's vetting process insofar where it is. Thirdly, Chair, to indicate that this issue of vetting is at the uppermost of our minds as the ministry generally across the ecosystem of the transport portfolio at executive level in particular, because there is a 2014 cabinet decision that executives and SCM practitioners must be vetted for the purposes of the work that they do. I would not want to delve into the legalities of the outlook that Honourable Atkinson has spoken to. We can look at that, but my understanding is that there is a cabinet decision. And then lastly, Chair, I would want to support your proposal that you engage with the SSA on this matter, and I'm pretty certain that the committee secretariat will draw you to the timeline that Parliament has engaged in on this matter as far back as 2017 on the key question of vetting, with the then Minister Bongo, Minister Dlodlo, Minister Godwa, and Minister Nchabeni on the issue of vetting as a priority issue for parliamentary oversight. And we will benefit as a department from that process, because it will help us be able to clarify it. But I would want to say, Chair, the executives can provide the timeline of vetting, because the issue, Chairperson, that this is not our process. It is an SSA process. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable DM, that notwithstanding, let me place this on record. The submission of the colleague from the Road Accident Fund is that the Chief Executive was interviewed in May, on or about May 2024. On the 16th of October, the Chief Executive of the Road Accident Fund appeared. Okay, did I say something wrong?
Chair, I just want to clarify here the information I have in respect of the interviews is that I cannot say that the interview for the CEO, the CEO is being interviewed for his executives. So the interview I'm talking about here, it was not for interviewing of his own vetting. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, which makes it worse. So anyway, what we know is that the Chief Executive turned up here on the 16th of October and informed this committee in conversation with me that he had been vetted, the other people needed to be vetted, and that their vetting was being finalized. In March, the submission of the Road Accident Fund is that the process was sitting with the State Security Agency for finalization. The status now is still the same. There is a contradiction between what the Chief Executive is saying and what was subsequently presented to the committee. Then we will need to resolve that issue, because I warned last year, and I was speaking to the chair about the importance of being truthful with the committee, and that we would take an extremely dim view next time this happened. This is why it's important. The second reason it's important is that the SIU has told us there is somebody with 2 ID numbers at the Road Accident Fund. This is why this basic process is important. We're not on a silly fishing expedition here. It's now through bitter experience that it has become important. Honourable Beasley, and then I'll come to you, Honourable Matla.
Thanks, Chair. So I'd like to ask the chairperson if she is aware of the CEO's vetting status, and maybe she might say it's not her responsibility. You know, I actually don't know, as directors, Chair, what is your responsibility if you don't know whether the CEO is actually vetted or not? And you spoke about received 1.3 million a year. My suggestion is you pay back the money, because it doesn't seem that you're doing anything at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Member. My knowledge was that the CEO was previously vetted and in his previous job. And then when he was appointed here, he has submitted his vetting information for the current position, and that the process was still work in progress.
The Honorable Madlala.
Thank you, Chair. I want to just propose that we finish the presentation. I think it's a 7-slide. We could have finished this in 5 minutes. I know that there are heated points of discussion so that we have a flow of debate on all the issues. But I think if we can just finish, we'll accept whatever we are told, and then we'll interrogate it after as at a holistic level. Thank you.
The Youth League's proposal is accepted. Thank you. Okay, I'll accept the proposal. Initially, I'd wanted to get that clarity because, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I think this is now the final slide. There was an issue around the fact that the committee had received accounts from various sources alleging intimidation or harassment of RAF officials who are perceived to be sharing information regarding financial malfeasance and with law enforcement or other government institutions. It would be remiss of the committee not to raise these various serious allegations with the RAF and receive a response to the same. And I think in our response there, we were saying that we are not aware of these allegations specifically. I think, and the RAF is obviously open to staff members to anonymously report any act of intimidation or in the workplace through whistleblowing mechanisms. I think we have that in place, and I think to the extent that we do not have the specific issues that would have been raised with the committee, the assurance that we can only provide the committee is around the whistleblowing mechanism that we have, and obviously there are matters that from time to time do get referred to the public protector, and then I think that is the process that we have, and I think it's a very difficult one for us to respond. I think that's the best answer we could provide. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much for the presentation. So what I'll do is I will go this way. No, I'll start with you because we're going, and then we'll come this way. So I will take you, Honorable Neil May, and
Sorry.
Sorry.
You flight the last slide, please, on the information you wanted. Yes.
Thank you for that reminder. Please, yeah, show us that. Will you need some time to set it up? I'll indulge you with a few minutes. No worries. Thanks for the reminder, Honorable Minister. Is that the list? Looks pretty. Do you need assistance?
Yeah, it's projecting your chair.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think. Thanks, Chair. I think this was the.
This was provided.
Yeah, this was the previous one.
Yes.
For the plaintiffs. So I think we're just struggling with the one for the panel. I can see it here on the iPad, but I think there seemed to be a technical challenge in taking it to the other side. But it's here. It can be provided to members if we can have a mechanism. But I think that one certainly is for the plaintiffs.
No, this one the committee has. We've seen this.
Yeah.
The one that the whole point was about getting the other list.
Guys, the slide was present. Just email the slide to him. He can flight it. Bagit, I'm sorry, Chair.
What is the difficulty?
Send it via WhatsApp, send it via email.
No, Chair, it says it was submitted, but it says outdated. The draft was deleted from another location. So I think it got lost en route. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a technical person. That is what it's saying. So we just need somebody to assist, technical.
Okay, shall we proceed with the questions in the meantime? Can somebody just go and sort out the technical issue with your IT colleagues?
There's the slide.
All right, thank you.
Yes, Chair, that's the list finally. I do hope that. But I think the principle is to demonstrate that it's ranked.
No, we want to see detail.
Yeah, no, it's there. I think it's in. I'm just saying that it's cut on the first paragraph there.
Okay, I am struggling to see.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Chair, the proposal is that I will send to Sister Ntombi so that if it's possible, she makes copies for individual members of the committee. I don't know if that makes sense.
Sure, can you read the totals? Okay.
While they're trying to, could I ask a question of clarification, Chair?
Yes.
I can, with my younger eyes, still decipher some of the numbers. It seems the top law firm in 1 year alone extracted 55 million rand plus from the RAF. How big is that law firm? How many attorneys?
So, Honorable Beck, so let's just go through the information and then go along the and go along the. So, we need to have the information in a manner in which the members can see, so that they can ask the relevant questions, please. Okay, so what I will do is let me make an allowance. So let's do it this way. Let me make an allowance for you to solve the layout problem quietly while we have discussions about other matters for now. And then when we put up that slide, we will then discuss the issue of the legal costs. Is that fine? Because there are many matters. Then we don't put you under pressure as well. Okay, Honorable Beasley, Honorable Neil May, and Honorable Pila.
Thank you, Chair. So I've attended quite a few meetings at SCOPA, but I must say this is the most shambolic one I've actually attended. And Minister, Deputy Minister, everything rises and falls on leadership. You know, we've seen leadership turn some sunken ships around SABC, Eskom, and the lotteries yesterday. My recommendation to you is you need to act. If you think this is acceptable, what's happened today, then I don't know. You know, I hold you in high regard. You need to do something, Deputy Minister. This can't carry on. You know, it makes a laughing stock of Parliament. Directors are earning fees, and this is shambolic. This is absolute. You've been chair of you must have seen some things in your time. I don't know if you've seen it as bad as this. This is shambolic. And action needs to be taken. There needs to be accountability. And my sense is the board needs to be be terminated. Deputy Minister, don't you think it's extremely fishy or bizarre that the CEO, the day before, night before SCOPA, was his services were suspended on full pay? I mean, happy days, full pay. He doesn't have to come to SCOPA. He's not accountable to SCOPA. Happy days, full pay. Surely, Deputy Minister, you should have insisted that he be here today. I mean, how can he get that notice the day before? And I think the board must take us in, not their confidence, because it is public information, when they actually had this board meeting, and can we have minutes? And it's absolutely bizarre that the day before he's meant to appear to SCOPA, he gets let off on full pay. It's totally unacceptable. And Deputy Minister, you should have insisted that he be here today, because you have been chair of SCOPA, and it's taking SCOPA for absolute farce. It's taking the people of South Africa for a farce, and it's totally unacceptable. And then just, you know, the way that this board is acting with impunity in terms of their dealings with the SIU and the AG is just totally unacceptable. So I just want to highlight that, you know, there are some efficient organizations in government. The SIU's one, the AG's one. We hold them in high regard, and they should be treated by the RAF in high regard. And then just in terms of the last one, your financial years come to an end in March. If I could just have an understanding what the losses or surpluses for the year that's just passed. Thank you.
No, we'll go to 3 members. Honourable Neil May.
Yes, good morning, Chair. Good morning, Deputy Minister, and good morning to the team that is here with you and to my colleagues. I'm going to start off with, very similar to the question that my colleague is saying, is what specific oversights, and this is to you, Minister, what specific oversight mechanisms has the ministry implemented to ensure that there's no further maladministration within the RAF, and how are these being monitored for effectiveness? The other questions that I want to add, and this is also pertaining to the cancellation of the panel of attorneys without a backup plan. So this is to the acting CFO. One of the areas that is of concern is that when, and it looks as though decisions are made willy-nilly, and so there was a cancellation of the panel of attorneys without a backup plan, which led to increased default judgments and unnecessary legal costs amounting to 4.78 billion. How does the RAF plan to address the systematic issues identified in the reports, such as poor planning, lack of representation in court, and flawed decision-making? Chair, I want to move on to, so let me add, I've clustered the questions. And coming back to the payments to attorneys, how does the RAF ensure that blocked payments to attorneys do not unjustly prejudice claimants? And what steps are being taken to resolve the accumulation of interest on these blocked amounts? Chair, finally, what progress has been made in looking at the periodic bank reconciliations, checks on writs of execution, and review of the claims payment process? We are curious to know how the RF plans to address the systematic weaknesses, and including document management, user profile deletion, and the impact of ransomware attacks on critical information. Chair, the last thing was with regards to the board. I think, as you heard here, and one of the areas is, why has it taken the board so long? Having seen the reports from the AG, surely that would have given you red flags. I mean, that is one of the areas that one, with a logical mind, with your oversight, you would know that there's a challenge in your organization. And finally, how are whistleblowers and internal stakeholders being protected and supported in reporting misconduct or inefficiencies within the RAF? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, Deputy Minister and the team from RAF. My first question was on vetting of senior officials, Chairperson. So since this item chose to become the man of the match today, I won't dwell much on it now. But I just want to check from the executive and the board, is it not possible that senior officials are properly vetted before appointment, so to prevent potential risk which is associated with unvetted leadership? The second question is on financial accountability. How does RAF justify the payment delays and non-cooperation with the SIU investigation, including the outstanding 4.4 million owed to SIU? The last one, what steps are being taken to ensure timely payment of invoices and full cooperation with the investigation, so to avoid further delays and legal consequences? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Bila. Honorable Deputy Minister.
No, thank you, Chairperson. Let me be very quick to indicate that on numerous occasions now, every time I've appeared before this committee, I have indicated that where RAF does the right thing, it has our support, and where we disagree with them, we will put it to them. The board knows full well that we have indicated that they should not continue with the court action against the AG, because that has resulted in unfavorable court outcomes on the part of RAF at the cost of the taxpayer. To my surprise, RAF is continuing to go to the Concord, right? So what I'm trying to indicate, Chairperson, is that we've got a problem at RAF, right? On the 9th of June, I've scheduled a meeting with the board, which is my belief that we'll be able to ventilate all these issues and put the ministry and the department in a position to be informed and to take decisions about the state of affairs at RAF. Honorable Beasley, am I happy about what's going on at RAF? No, I'm not. And rest assured that we will respond in kind to how RAF chooses to engage with us when we have been very clear about our expectations about what needs to happen. But why are we here today? We are here today because there's matters which we need to respond to insofar as the issues have been raised about RAF. I'm sure you have seen my frustration at this meeting today. It's not my job to micromanage RAF when there's a board and executives. But I see today's meeting certainly not as symbolic, Honorable Beasley. I've seen it as an enabler to take decisions about RAF. So I see opportunity in crisis. And secondly, no, I do not think that there's anything sinister about the decision of the board to place the CEO on special leave, understanding that a meeting took place, and the board can explain why that meeting was called yesterday. Because everything, Honorable Beasley, has a context. This is not a willy-nilly occurrence. My understanding is that the committee has been briefed by the SIU. We are expected to come and appear before the committee on matters, some of which we are not privy to because we have not been briefed. When we are briefed, we will be in a position to act. Chair, what I don't want is to act on the basis of a briefing that was not given to us. I would want to caution the board from doing the same. But what is my expectation is that when the report lands on their desk, they must act. Right? I think, Chair, it may be... there's two chairs. Chair of the board, it may be helpful now to clarify how the board arrived at the decision around the CEO, so that we don't leave any ambiguity in the committee. Secondly, my understanding of the decision is it is to enable the SIU investigation to run its final lap to a logical conclusion. Where I have issue, and I will still communicate this with the chairperson of the board, is that I think there must be clarity on the terms of the special leave, and insofar as the interaction of the CEO and RAF and the staff at RAF. So I think we will need to clarify the letter further in terms of what it means, so that there's no ambiguity on the RAF. But it's a decision that we support as part of due process of bringing the SIU investigation to a logical conclusion. Secondly, I don't think, Honourable Beasley, we're in a position to give you those numbers now, because the audit process is still underway for the year that has just ended. It ended on the 31st of March. The AG process is underway, and we will table the annual report when those audited outcomes come out. But where I think, Chair, it's going to be helpful. Oh, and I think, Honourable May, here's the issue. The red flags you speak about, I don't think REF can say they don't know. Because in the previous administration and previous parliament, and now, they have been told that do not continue on this course of action. Right? So I would really want the minister and myself have been very clear on the status of the situation around the AG, to the point and extent to which we have said, if you are in disagreement with the accounting standard, it is for the Accounting Standards Board to make a determination on the applicable standard. It is not to say we are imposing a standard, but what the AG is saying is that what you are currently using is not acceptable, nor recognized. So I've dumbed this down to say, find one that does. Now, I do not believe that it is for the court to determine an accounting standard. I don't. We will be setting the wrong precedent, in fact. And I want to reiterate here again today, the board does not have the sanction nor the support of the ministry in this fishing expedition. I believe it is reckless, I believe it is irresponsible, and the board will be well served to reconsider its position on this matter. I don't think I can get clearer than that on this matter. Because what this has done, Chair, we continue to remain on a trajectory of dealing with the accounting standards and not the global situation at REF. What has been done? At the initiative of the ministry, we have been working with the DOJ and the executives of RAF to resolve the court challenges insofar as the court role is concerned. That is work underway. 2 weeks ago is it when we met with the Deputy Minister of Justice and his team and our team to continue resolving this. We'll be engaging the courts themselves. But Chair, let me conclude by saying this. We must not be ignorant to the fundamental risk which prevails at RAF because of the lawyers. The abuse of the system and the leakages of money not reaching claimants, in part, is as a result of the construct of RAF. These slides here, in whatever form, why are we spending so much on legal fees? It tells you, it should tell you. We should be spending money on claimants, but we're spending money because the whole system is fundamentally structured in a way which is problematic. Hence, the amendment, the bill rather that we will be bringing, the RAPS bill, it will come to Parliament. Should we continue paying illegal foreign persons in South Africa? No. We have stated here before the extent to which, because of the actual studies that have to take place about each claim, having to convert to dollars and euros, bleeding the ecosystem because we're paying foreign nationals. There's a question that has been asked that came through to Parliament. We can provide that to the committee about how much we have paid to foreign illegal immigrants in the country. Should we be in a position to continue from a financial management point of view, charging 218 cents at the pump per litre to fund RAF? Because National Treasury is trying to review the budget. You all know the challenges we have around budget. So RAF has to explore other sources of revenue. All of that, Chair. So when the question is asked what we're doing, we are equally alive to the challenges at RAF. But where it's key, the board must assist us focus on the matters that matter. And this court action is a distraction. Thank you.
Thank you. There were other questions, so I'll assume either the chair or chief executive will, sorry? Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, they should answer the other members' questions.
We'll start with...
No, sorry. I thought... I apologize for the disconnect. Thank you, Deputy Minister. I think let me note your very emphatic point around the position of the department regarding the court action against the Auditor General, and also your statement that the board should reconsider its decision so it can focus on paying the claimants. I note that, Deputy Minister. Regarding the decision taken by the board yesterday morning to place the CEO under special leave, and I have to be cautious here because I have to protect the individual's rights, because everybody's got constitutional rights as well as rights in the labor laws. So I'm not going to go through the detail, but I will take the offer. We still have to sit with the DM and brief him in terms of all the details that led the board to get to that point. But the fundamental issue that the board reasoned was that there was a serious potential because of the personal conflict in terms of the issues relating to the current investigation, and the CEO's role as the head of the RAF, of the operational head of the RAF. Because before we came in here, there was a dispute between himself and the board in terms of attendance here. After Chair, the SIU matters have been cleared. But we must also remember that the CEO has taken a decision to actually instruct lawyers to represent him on the very matters around the SIU matters. And I mean, to us, we saw that as a conflict, because when we were asking questions, are you attending? And he said, no, he will have to check with his lawyers. So we had a problem that we have a CEO who's appointed in the organization, but is taking instructions from two different principals. And then the priorities of the organization is basically compromised. So the board decided to say that this is just a summary of the main reason, but there are other factors coming to. So we said, let's give him time off for him to go and deal with his personal conflicts around this process, and also his role, and also take time to reflect in terms of what is important, so that the organization is not brought into disrepute regarding this matter. And also, the organization and the board mustn't be seen not to be supporting the parliamentary structures that we're facing here. There are other specifics, Chair, that I'm not going to bring in yet, but I'm going to bring to some also impacting on the quality of the presentation that have been brought here. But I'm not going to go into that. But Chair, so that's basically one of the major reasons that you can't have a CEO taking instructions from elsewhere regarding the matters of the organization, and also taking personal litigations on the matters affecting his role as the CEO. So that's basically the main reason we've placed him. It's special leave. I mean, he hasn't been found guilty of anything. I think that's very important, that we just say he must just go and deal with the serious potential conflicts and its impact to the organization. And then that's why we're saying the board will review the matter on a monthly basis and go back and give him updates in this regard. And also, we've communicated with the SIU, and they've confirmed, they've given us dates between June. So the board will meet with the SIU and then maybe get some sense of because the other allegations serious allegations that we've received from the Ministry of Transport was that there's allegations around serious potential interference by the executives of the RAF and some staff members around the SIU investigation. So the board takes those things seriously. So we thought that let's distance him from the process and allow the investigation process to be finalized.
Thank you, Chair. I need to have this in simpler English. I am trying to understand where the Chief Executive's personal interest would arise in this matter at all. We at the National Lotteries Commission yesterday, and they dealt with us, and they deal with the SIU as a state entity. So I just want to understand, are you suggesting that, are you saying to us that the letter that I received, which I have shared with the members, all of them have it, the letter, was written to us by the Chief Executive's lawyers in his personal capacity? Because I need to, I know that I just need to know what words mean here, so that when we get asked later, we can represent you accurately. Where would the personal interest arise? I'm just trying to understand what the CEO's difficulty in your understanding would have been. What did he tell you?
I'm trying not to get to matters that will affect his rights, and I mean, I can't be specific on that matter, Chair. Can I just send a written response to that? and then the committee can decide how it deals with it. May I request, Chair?
I may grant that. However, please just remember your microphone. I may grant that. However, it needs to be on the basis of proper understanding. For example, I am assuming that the Deputy Minister was reading from the letter to yourself from the board. I made that assumption when you were explaining the suspension, or even you, Chair, because you were reading the Deputy Minister. And here's my point. If you have matters of concern which relate to the conducting of the investigation without interference, a letter that relates to those matters would then have conditions of the special leave. Those conditions would be: hand in your laptop, you may or not. You may not interfere with the investigation, don't contact any employees, don't come into the premises, etc., etc. It doesn't say you're guilty, still out on full benefits. But we now have this situation where the chief executive is on special leave. We're not certain why. It might relate to the investigation. But actually, if he wanted to, he could come up back and hang out in the canteen during the day and give people cold stares. So please help me there.
Chairperson, no, thank you very much. Let me indicate that obviously this is a development which is substantively very new. The board is yet to brief us substantively on the set of circumstances, some of which have been alluded to now. And what I would request, Chairperson, is that we be afforded an opportunity to look at the special leave. Because I think the other thing I must correct, it's not a suspension. I've been made to understand that it is a special leave. It is
special leave, yeah.
Special leave.
Thanks.
The board would probably, as I've said, have to expand on the terms and conditions of the special leave. We will need to satisfy ourselves on the basis of the report they will give us, and therefore the terms and conditions. My understanding is that this is to enable the SIU investigation to arrive at a conclusion. That ecosystem will have to be explained. We will have to satisfy ourselves, Chair, that due process for this special leave has been followed. What I would request, Chairperson, is that we be afforded an opportunity to engage with the board, and we will provide a report to the committee on these matters. I think the board will have to also then explain to the committee on the issue of the lawyers and his personal lawyers. Chair, please underline one thing in what the chair of the board has said. When she says the quality of submissions today, you see, just underline that, for whatever it may mean to the committee. I'm not going to say read between the lines, and I'm not going to speak on behalf of the chair. But for me, it's a matter I'm going to interrogate with the board, right? What does that mean? But what it substantively points me to is that, Chair, the exchange of correspondence over the past week or past few days has fundamentally, I believe, led us to this moment. And I would want to believe if that is the case, then it's the correct decision to have been taken by the board. Because the SIU investigation must be concluded. I want a final report from the SIU. And I'm happy to hear that a date has been looked at in June for the SIU to brief RAF. We want that, Chairperson. So may I beg the indulgence of the committee that one note that a special leave has been granted, and we will come back to the committee on that. I think let us rather err on the side of caution, Chairperson, on this one. And I say this because now lawyers have been invoked. That's what I'm hearing, that lawyers have been invoked. And so I don't know what will follow next, Chairperson. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Deputy Minister, I have difficulty with the request. I have difficulty with it because the committee and the public are really none the wiser. So let me then play back to you, Chair, what you said, maybe in simpler language. Okay? That firstly, you could not reach agreement as to the substance of the presentation before the committee. So that was dispute number one. Dispute number two related to the manner in which the Road Accident Fund would continue to interact and cooperate with the Special Investigating Unit in its investigation. Would those two statements be correct? So I'm trying to say it in a way that doesn't compromise anyone's rights, but at the end of the day, there has to be simple English that explains your decision. Do you understand? Otherwise, if you or I get asked of the Deputy Minister, we will speak Latin, which is something nobody can understand. So I need to, so is it that there was a dispute between the board and the chief executive with regards to the content and substance of the presentation to this committee, which relates to accountability to Parliament? The second one relating to the manner in which, in your view, the Road Accident Fund institutionally should continue to cooperate and assist the Special Investigating Unit. Would that be fair without compromising anybody's rights?
Chair, yes, but that's not all. There are other fundamental issues behind it. That's why I don't want to get into detail because it's now kind of a legal matter. So there's more behind that, but I agree to the points you're making.
Okay, so let me then, so at least we've got these two things on the table and on the public record. Otherwise, the committee is agreeing to something it doesn't understand, and I think we will be held accountable for acceding to a request we don't understand. May I then also grant you your request to appraise the committee in writing? Can I do that? Would that be fair? But that appraisal needs to happen expeditiously. You don't need to sit and do it outside, but let's do it at a mutually agreeable time so that we can move on. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, we were continuing because...
I ask that we brief you within the week. We will find opportunity to engage the board on a special basis outside the meeting of June 9, and we will submit a report to the committee. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Then, yeah, okay. I'm happy with that. Thank you. Can we assist Honorable Neil May and Honorable Bila with their questions?
Okay, thanks, Chair. I think let me deal with the specific questions. I think there was a question around the amounts owing to the SIU. I think from where we sit, I think we are up to date with the payments with the SIU. I think the last invoice was of 750 that we paid, that we got from the SIU. I think from time to time we engage on those issues. I think if there are any issues, I think there's a process around how we resolve those, including, of course, any information that they require. They have, at least to our knowledge, all the information and documents that they require to conduct their investigation, and we continue to support the SIU in the process. I think the issue of possible vetting before appointment, I think it was ventilated before around the extent to which we're able to control the process. I will not repeat that. There was also an issue around our measures around protection of whistleblowers, which are highlighted, that we even have internally ourselves our own whistleblowing policy. We even have an independent service provider who is responsible for handling whistleblowing reports on behalf of the fund. I think we have a full forensic investigation division that handles issues of investigations, detection across the board, and most of the investigations we're able to do from the from internally. And there were also issues around reconciliations and REIT management. I think that's important. It is strengthening that reconciliation processes that has resulted in the identification of the duplicate payments. That was subsequently referred to the SIU. I think for recoveries, I think it's important to always emphasize the point that it is through those introducing those processes that we were able to identify them internally through improving those measures. And I think you'll see that even in the previous reports from the Auditor General, there is that acknowledgement from the report of the Auditor General around the improvement of measures, particularly introducing reconciliations to ensure that payments are not made unduly. And I think that then brings us to also the issue of blocked payments, which has also been a contentious issue, because it's also an issue that it's a measure that was put in place to also prevent payments that are fraudulent, that may have issues that may need to be further investigated, and obviously that has created challenges in that it may result in payment delays. And I think there have been instances where we have had those challenges, and I think we endeavor to try to ensure that at all times payments are paid, and even where possible there have been attempts to get certain payments to be made directly to claimants, but this is not always possible. But I think it's an issue, it's a challenge that we continue to manage, because we need to balance between ensuring that we make the right payments to the right claimant, but also ensuring that we don't pay payments that make payments that are fraudulent or irregular. So I think that is a process that we continue to manage, and that goes also around issues of document management. I think these are processes we continue to improve. I think our digitization project I think is well on track. I think it will obviously go a long way in ensuring that we improve our processes and systems going forward. Obviously, the RAF still remains largely paper-based, because obviously that's how the legislation has designed it, and I think we've canvassed that point also previously, and the Deputy Minister has made the point around ensuring that we move with regard to the present amendment of the RAF Act to ensure that we were able to improve the systems in the RAF, and I think those are the issues I'm able to respond to. I think there's a specific issue that relates to the SIU investigation chair. I think that I would prefer not to engage on, but I think the rest were issues that I can be able to talk. I think the DM did speak to the issue of the surplus and the losses that is not yet audited, and I think we'll deal with that when the issue of the AG report is finalized. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Just please remind me on the SIU issue that you can deal with. What was the question?
I think there is an issue that refers to the cancellation of the panel tender. That is a specific issue in the SIU.
Okay, so let's park that question.
Yeah.
We will come back to it because we have had regard of information from outside the SIU, a judgment delivered last week. We will talk about that later, so that's fine, because it's on my list of questions. I have shared what that judgment says with the members, so they've got it, and if any of the members want to go over that ground, you don't need to leave it to me, you can ask it. But it traverses the same ground, because substantively we have to deal with the issue. So as I explained, what we've done is where there are matters that traverse the same ground as the SIU investigation, we will then deal with them in the manner that we're also dealing with the other issues. Thank you. Members, I am mindful of the fact that we're in a weird situation where we had to take a break, and I don't want to keep members too long. Can I then ask that we take a body break for about 10 minutes so that we can then continue until the end? Once we come back, would that be fine? It's 11:32. Let's come back before 1:45. Thank you.